How to tie a number 10 killer. First we start off, size 4 streamer hooks. I get these from Walmart. They're about $3.50 for 10 of them. Next thing you're going to need, olive colored mallard flank. Next, pearl colored flashabou or crystal chenille. Depends on where you get it, what it's called. Grizzly hackle or brown hen saddle. Black thread, fly head cement. Start off with your tie on. Do about 6 wraps towards the front of the hook. Wrap back onto the back of the hook, onto where you just started. Creates a hitch knot. Wrap it back towards the front of the hook. Leave about 1/8 of an inch. Leaving the 1/8 of an inch makes it so that you can tie on a nice clean head at the end when you go to tie it all off. Next thing you're going to want to do is get some of your crystal chenille or flashabou and cut about 1 inch. About that much. Not a heck of a lot. Take that and you're going to tie that onto the top of your hook. Tie it on good and tight. Trout have a tendency to pull it off if you don't get it on nice and tight. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pull it nice and straight back like that. You're going to want to cut it to the appropriate length, which is about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch off the back of the hook shank. Then your next step is to tie on a couple of your mallard flank feathers. Find a couple of decent looking ones. You know what you're looking for. They should look like a Hornburg feather. If you get them and they're twisted like this, you can take your scissors and go like this to straighten them out. And see it kind of straighten it out a little bit. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take and cut that feather at the top where all that fuzzy stuff is. Try to get it about the same length as the hook shank. You're going to want to let it overhang a little bit, you know, about the same amount as the chenille, so about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. And again, this isn't an exact science, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take and see all those little fuzzy things on the end that are left. You're going to want to take them and you pull them right off. That way, the stem of the feather is open on the end. See how that is? That way, you have a nice, easy place to do the tie on to your hook. So you're going to want to take that and you're going to want to place it right about even with the back side of the eyelet of the hook. And take it and do a tie on. For the first feather, just a couple of wraps will do. Get it on there nice and straight. Only do a couple of wraps because that will allow you to create a smaller head at the end. You're going to want to take and get a feather that's about the same length, something that matches the first one. Again, if you need to straighten it out, go for it. So I just take them and I put them up next to each other and match them up. About the right length. Cut it to about that right length. Mallard flank is a pain in the ass to work with sometimes because you never get nice, straight, perfect feathers. You got to end up straightening them out almost every time. And again, do the same thing. Take and cut off all those, or pull off all those little fuzzy things at the end. So you get a nice bare stem of the feather. And go on and tie it on in the same way, same fashion on the back. It's opposite side. So you got that streamer fly, Hornburg look. This time when you go to tie it on nice and solid. You want to leave a pretty good amount of space at the end of the fly for the head. Don't be afraid to straighten out all the feathers and stuff while you're going. That way it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And if you leave that good space at the end, it makes it a lot easier when you go to do the hackle. You know, you leave like, I don't know, I'd probably get about a 1/4 inch there. Next up, get your dubbing, or your hackle. You want to take a decent sized feather. This is a streamer fly, so it's a wet fly. It doesn't need to be nice and tight, or short hackled. So you want to get something that's got some decently long hackle on it. The hen saddles are cheaper. That's why I showed you that you could use that. I think you can get the hen saddles for $4 or $5 for a whole bunch of them at a fly shop, so they're pretty cheap. You can't use them for dry flies, but you can use them for pretty much any kind of wet fly. Take your hackle. Again, do the same thing that I did with the mallard flank. If you can see that. Pull off the end so that the stem of the feather is open. That way you can tie it onto the hook shank. Take it and tie it to the back of the fly so that your feather is running perpendicular to the rest of the fly like this, okay? Tie it on nice and tight without making too much of a mess of it. Anything like that that gets in your way, just cut it off. And you're going to want to take your hackle, take your thread and pull it back up to the top of the hook. And you're going to want to take your hackle and pull it out straight and wrap it, just like this. See how that works? Wrap it towards the front of the hook. And this is what normally makes my flies last a little longer than most people's. Normally with a streamer fly especially, the first thing to go is your hackle. It'll unwrap on you, as you well know. So what I'll do is I'll take and I'll tie that right off, and then I'll take and I'll pull that hackle right to the front of the hook and go and wrap it just like that. Then I'll take it and I'll go and pull it back again, which creates a bit of a hitch in the hackle, and that adds a lot of longevity to your fly. If you have the ability to do it 3 times, go right ahead, because that's going to give you even more longevity with the fly. Take and cut off that very end of the hackle. And take your knot tying tool. I don't know if you know how to use one of these or not, but take it, and you can't really see very well with the... See how the thread is? Goes into that little groove right there. Take it, put it in, go up, and it's going to form a triangle. And you take and you just wrap. 6 wraps. Take it, pull it. And that creates a nice knot. Again, another thing that I do is I double knot or even triple knot my fly heads. That has a tendency to add some longevity to the fly as well. See if I can get it, just in case you don't know how to use this tool. See if I can show you what that looks like. See how the thread makes like a triangle right there? That's what you're going for. Really simple tool. Very cool. Very good idea. That's just about it. Take and cut off your thread as close to the head as you can get it. And take and cut off any extra little hackle hairs that are pushing out the top of the head. I'm going to want to take a toothpick and fly head cement. Just get a little tiny bit, just like a little drop. Then drop it directly right under the thread, right under the head of the fly. And that's it, buddy. That is a number 10 killer. Pretty simple. Once you get good at tying them, man, I can whip these things out in like 30 seconds now. But obviously I took my time for you. Got any questions? Ask. Later.